Yeah. Heck, man. American pickers ain't got nothing on me. Well, good afternoon, my fellow junkers. So this afternoon, just got, well, actually I went in and had lunch, but, just finished up the Whatnot auction, and, sold a few things. It was definitely, I don't know what you'd call it, different market, different, I don't really know what you call it. You know, it ain't no different than I've been buying and selling this crap for a long time. So it's, you know, just like a show. You never can really figure out what, well, I guess that's the same. Figure out what, you know, what's gonna sell, what's gonna get bid on, and then you go from week to week and try to second guess. And, yeah, the stuff behind me, we've already pulled the stuff, man. That I didn't end up listing everything, but that's everything up here. None of this, not all of it was, you know, I didn't even show some of it, but I got to go through now and sweep the stuff that I did, you know, run this auction, because I'm not going to just run it to the, you know, next week ain't going to be the same crap. It's going to be different crap. I'm not going to spend as much time this week. For one thing, man, the morels are getting dang close to popping, so it's almost mushroom season. So, but I'm going to probably, you know, I'm going through the stuff and I'm working on this, so there'll always be stuff getting put up here. But, you know, I spent a lot more time this last week getting it ready than I have. But, you know, I made a few bucks and stuff, but it definitely, you know, I did better last week than I did this week. So, all part of the game, I reckon. Dang video. Hey, now it's looking down too far. The one thing, man, I couldn't believe I didn't sell was this Beaver Creek hatchet. Yeah, so if you're interested in this, man, if you look, these Beaver Creek, yeah, I always say creek, but I think they're having a sale on it right now. It's like $69. This is the one I got, and you know, went out and did a review or whatever on it. Man, I have so many hatchets and woodsman pals and, you know, stuff that I just ain't gonna use it, man. So I put it out. $40, man. So if you're interested in this, $40. And I think that they're selling, I think they're on sale on the site right now for $69. So that kind of surprised me. And then the ulu, man, the ulu didn't sell. Just, you know, just getting that, oh, and the old timer didn't sell. Just some thing, you know, actually things that, you know, all my other, you know, markets or whatever, the stuff, it just kind of blows my mind. But it's all dependent on who you got. I can't remember, I think it was 37 people I had in there was the most that I noticed, you know, which ain't a, you know, it's, you know, that's quite a few people, but not as, you know, I don't know, dude. I really just don't know. We're gonna just keep plugging along. You know, I made a few bucks. It was worth doing it, but it's definitely not something to devote hours and hours to at this point. You know, which I'm going through this stuff whether I was doing Whatnot or not. But and then Miss Kitty was just in there, you know, 'cause she's in there packing the stuff up to ship. And when you sell something on there, it does like this video receipt and shows the item selling. And so this one item, this knife I sold, that comes up in the video receipt is the knife that I showed, I think right before it, which was actually this knife. Which I showed this before too. I think I showed it on the last show. But freaking, it shows me selling this, or it shows on their video receipt that this is the one that sold, and it wasn't even this knife that sold. And we watched the video clip, you know, because I yell out, sold, sold. And it was the knife, it was either right before this or right after this. So there's the system's a little bit, there's a few things that need to be fixed like that. And then the other thing that I don't like, or that I can't figure out how to, well, there's a couple of things I can't figure out how to do on there. And that is, one is see, and Cara, the last two shows she's done, at the end, it comes up with a little screen and tells her how much money, or, you know, how much she sold this show. And I even waited on my tab, you know, because I was using that tablet, which, I don't know, man, I may end up trying the phone, because supposedly people were telling me, and I watched the feedback, and there's a quirky part, you know, and I guess that my voice was just doing, and connection wasn't good, so I don't know if that's the tablet that I'm using, or the phone, or just my service. You know, I am in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, so that could be part of it. But I guess that got straightened out, because I didn't hear anybody else complain about that. And then the other, what was the other thing that, so at the end of that auction, Cara said that hers comes up with this little page, you know, and it shows you how much, you know, how many items or how much stuff you sold. And the last two shows, man, and today I waiting for that screen to come up, and it never came up. So then I can't figure out, is there, maybe somebody knows that sells on Whatnot, of how to get to where you look. You know, I can go back and see all my orders, and I can see the money's transferring and doing this and doing that. But as far as what's sold today is what I'm interested in, you know, the numbers of today. And I'm just kind of a number guy. I like to, you know, all my years of everything, man, when I had when I was selling salvage, when I was flea marketing, you know, when I had the store, everything, and it was all handwritten, man. I'm one of those guys that likes to handwrite everything, and that's Kitty always laughed at me, because even after the computer days, the computers came along, she's all, well, you don't need to do that anymore. And I'm like, oh no, I gotta do it, you know, because I like to list, because man, like in the store, you know, or out on the out at the flea markets, I wrote down every item, you know, wrote, you know, a little description of every item that I sold. Which, doing this Whatnot, and the way, well, we're going to change it now, we're going to go ahead and do some other things. We're just going to keep tinkering with it. May even change the time of day, or not the time of day, but the day that we actually do it. Because Saturday, right at the beginning, you know, in springtime, everybody's wanting to get out and get doing stuff. You know, I don't know if people even really have weekends anymore like they used to, but anyway, so we may end up changing that day. We're going to give this probably 2 more weeks, you know, and if it, you know, picks up or whatever, I really don't know. But it's definitely going to be in the morning, or, you know, fairly early in the day. We're morning people, man. I'm up at, you know, anywhere from 4 to 5 in the morning, you know, and then doing the auction at like 10 o'clock or something. That's just, you know, I'm not doing that evening stuff or nighttime stuff, man. I'd be whooped. I wouldn't like that at all. Not even for money. And then, what else was there kind of crazy? I guess that's about it. I don't know. There was something else I was going to tell you too, but man, it's all, you know, trial and error, man. And you know, I'm sure they're working on changing things too, because Whatnot's got a lot bigger, you know, in the last 6 months or year than ever. You know, it's starting to get used and get out there a lot more than it ever has. So, you know, so just being there and kind of trying to wheel and deal and go with it. I just want my numbers, man. I just like to know, I sold, this die for this much money. I like knowing what the item is. And the way that we're doing it right now is we're not taking pictures of the stuff or anything like that, because, that way you just get what you get. Because the first auction we did, we took pictures of everything, and the counts for as many people. I think you get more people in there if they don't know what you're going to be running than if you show everything. But then a couple of the shows that I watch, they've got everything that they're putting on listed, and they're getting pre-bids and all this stuff. So you got to weigh which way is better. So we're going to give it all a try, but still totally positive, man. I'm not ripping on it at all, man. It's definitely, like I said, definitely a way to get pedal out some of this stuff. But I really thought, this stuff, I don't know how well now it's all disarray. It was all set up. Well, it looked like a flea market. That's what it reminds me of when I'm setting it up. It's the flea markets, but I really, in all my years of doing it, would have thought at least 50% more of this stuff would have sold. But, you gotta have the people, man. Definitely, that's kind of like going to a flea market, during, say, going to the January, February indoor flea market. Spectra is where I used to do it, down in Boise. And January and February was always our best, man. That place was just packed with people. On the other shows, some of them would be good, some of them would be bad. But when the weather got nice, and they only run them from, I can't remember if their first one's September, October, and then the last one, they're already over. So the last one's in, I guess, March probably. So from maybe October to March or September to March or whatever. But those ones, depending on how the weather is, and there's Saturday and Sunday flea market, and that, when the warmer weather, it was, they were slower. And then December, it really just depended, because it's Christmas time. So it depended how far before Christmas it was scheduled, And November was usually pretty good. But, what kind of stuff you're selling, man. Because if you're out there selling a bunch of antique junk, like, treasures like mine, secondhand rusty gold, they're not really looking for that kind of stuff. But then come January and February show, cha-ching, man. What I was getting at is the amount of people that come out, too. The weather, man. Today was supposed to be rainy, but... Man, I would much rather be out fishing or hunting mushrooms right now or this morning rather than doing a, whatnot sell video. I'd much rather be out fishing or, out playing in the woods for sure. So that's kind of my thinking on that. I thought I'd just do it. On the other thing, that's what I was going to tell you. The other thing is I cannot, or we tried this morning, we cannot figure out. I thought there was just a button, and we looked for it, and we'll kind of play with it when we're not, not live. We started messing with it like 10 to 10 or something this morning, trying to figure, because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I just thought you hit a button to actually do a live feed or whatever, live show on YouTube. I thought there was a connection that all you had to do is hit the button. So I got the tablet all signed into Mountain Junkers on YouTube. And then I thought, with Whatnot, I thought there'd just be like this button or whatever that you hit that linked it over to, and did a live show where it would show the live auction over there. I've watched a couple people doing it, so I know it can be done. I just ain't no computer whiz. And even the girls, man, they're way smarter than me about it, but they couldn't even figure it out, so... That's why he didn't get a live show last week. That's why he didn't get a live show this week. Maybe next week. That's all I got, man. I'm just going to go having some afternoon coffee. I don't know if I'm going to come out here and look at that old thing there. That's an old cabbage shredder. I think I showed it. I think a lot of this crap I showed. But, pretty surprised. I mean, even that old Leatherman didn't even sell. Yeah, and it's, man, well used, everything. But everything but the small Phillips is the only thing. The small Phillips is broke off. But everything other than that, and you know, it's loose, it's not tight. You can actually use like a butterfly knife. Should just carry it. If I didn't already carry one. Did I carry this? Yeah. That one. So, but if I didn't already have one, I'd definitely be carrying that leather one. And I think I had that on there for $5 or something, man. It didn't, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. But it just depends on the crowd, man. You know, that's, and these. Check this out. And, you know, I don't know what year, you know, cavalry, when I say U.S. cavalry, I'm talking, they had the cavalry and, or the horses and stuff, you know, up till I don't know what year, you know. It was actually, I think it was the 1900s when they, you know, late night. I'm talking like 1990s or something. I think me and Kitty were married when they stopped using horses and stuff. But these are definitely older than that. I would guess them, you know, just, you know, I don't know, 40s or 50s maybe, you know. It was definitely machine sewn there, you know, it wasn't hand sewn, so. You know, but I didn't even sell those, man. Very surprising. Very, very surprising. Yeah, or the corncob pipe. What the heck? But other than that, man, made a few bucks. It was worth my time. And we'll keep trying at it. Keep going. What I'm going to do for the rest of the day, I don't know. Man, maybe I'll just kick back and eat bonbons for the rest of the day. Remember, keep your eye on the skyline and your nose to the wind. And if you're out there treasure hunting, hope you find some color in the bottom of your pan. See ya!